Good morning, my dear students, and a very warm welcome to all of you in this e-learning program. Friends, you already know that we are doing the revision, and in this revision session, we are going to carry forward the concept of this lesson, that is the conservation of plants and animals. I hope you remember that we are in this lesson. In our previous session, we had seen about chapter number 6, and now we are going to carry forward with chapter number 7 revision. Before we come on this concept, that is conservation of plants and animals, I wish to say you that it is our moral duty to see that the plants as well as animals remain conserved, that is we should not harm them, and as far as possible we should try to plant more and more number of trees. So with this I'm going to start on with this lesson, which is conservation of plants and animals. So let's begin the lesson. In the beginning, you are having about the deforestation. What is the meaning of the word deforestation? Deforestation means what? De means removal of what? Forests. So the clearing of forest and using the land for other purpose, it is called as deforestation. There are many reasons why we are doing it. Sometimes we want the race in between, sometimes we want to use the important materials that are present in the forest for our benefits, then for cultivation. So there are many reasons. Which are those reasons? Let us have a look at them. Coming to deforestation, that is clearing of forest and using the land for other purpose, is called as deforestation. There are many causes of it. Which are the causes? Procuring the land for cultivation, building houses and factories in the roadways, using the food for making furniture or any other thing, the basic things we need from the forests. Then the natural causes, like why? Because of nature the deforestation is happening, is the forest fires and the drought. So this fact is about the deforestation. Next is consequences of deforestation. What is the reason of deforestation? If we talk about why do we need to carry out the deforestation, is the reasons, like we have studied that deforestation is occurring and why it is occurring. Now what happens if the trees are like cut it up? If the trees are cut up, then what will happen? You already know that trees are giving us oxygen and they are taking a carbon dioxide. So if they are not there, then the level of carbon dioxide will increase in the atmosphere, that will ultimately lead to global warming, and ultimately there will be the increase in temperature, and the pollution level on the earth will also increase. The groundwater table will get lowered up, and ultimately the rainfall will also decrease, and the soil's water holding capacity will also decrease. Soil erosion will increase, and ultimately the fertility will decrease, and that will result into deforestation, or you can say desertification. So here are few of the consequences of the deforestation which are mentioned. Okay, note it down quickly. Be quick. You can write the causes on your own. I hope you have noted this. Let's come to the consequences. You can write it in your own words. No, you need to copy it down. You are intelligent enough, and because this is the quick revision, let's see how much you remember. Okay, so be quick. I hope you have noted down the content. Now let's move further on the next topic, which is drought. What is actually happening is uh, the trees are present, and what will the trees do? They'll convert they'll take the carbon dioxide and they will give oxygen. So the level of carbon dioxide is maintained in the atmosphere. Now what happens is, if we start cutting the trees, then the proportion of carbon dioxide increases, temperature increases. Trees are helpful in bringing the rainfall. That rainfall will also not come. So what will happen because of that? Because of this, the rainfall, the whole of the structure of the water cycle will get disturbed, and that results into one of the situation which is called as drought. Here it is mentioned about the drought. What is drought? The water cycle is getting disturbed and the rainfall gets reduced, then that is called as droughts. And why it is happening? It is happening because uh, of the increase in the temperature on the earth's surface. We are knowing that carbon dioxide is trapping the heat rays that are getting reflected by the earth, and so more and more CO2 in the atmosphere, more and more problem. So that is about what is drought. So here it is. Fewer trees would mean less carbon dioxide. They'll be used up resulting in the increased amount in the atmosphere. That will lead to global warming as CO2, which will trap the heat rays that are reflected by the earth, and ultimately there will be increase in the temperature on the earth, and that will disturb the water cycle, which will reduce rainfall. And what are this called as? These are called as the droughts. So this is about the droughts. Please note it down, then we'll move further. Be quick. Then comes the next part, which is desertification. What is desertification? Desert means what? Uh, the place where you don't find any kind of plants, and there is ultimately very less amount of rainfall. So whenever the production of the plant or anything cannot take place, it is desertification is coming into the picture. So whenever the top layer of the soil is coming in, that is removed, and it exposes the hard and the rocky layers that is having very less amount of humus and air, and that time it becomes very much less fertile, very difficult to like grow any kind of plant. Mostly cactus and such plants are grown over here. If we talk about cactus, then most of the people say that they don't like this plant, but actually we should learn from this plant that it is the only plant which is growing in the desert region. So always stay positive and learn all the positive things, even from whatever you see. Like just think about cactus, uh, like having no like you can say none of the facilities, yet it is growing. So that is what is desertification is, and it is giving ultimately a very good like message, cactus especially, that grow. Okay, everywhere grow wherever you are planted. Even if you are planted in the desert region, grow. Why? Because ultimately, just remember that because the cactus can grow even in this area, that shows that you should have your levels high. Okay, so that is about the desertification. Please, my dear students, note down this, that is the desertification. Then we'll move further. Be quick in noting. Next, conservation of forest and wildlife. Yes, we need to protect our wildlife, forests, and ultimately because they are going to be helpful to us either today or further. If we talk about the forest, then they can be conserved by building up national parks, biosphere reserves, and the wildlife sanctuaries. Now, what are the biosphere reserves? These are the large areas of protected land for the conservation of biodiversity and for the traditional life of the tribes that are living over there. So you all are knowing that there are tribes that are living in the forest for their conservation and even for the conservation of the biodiversity, the biosphere reserves are necessary. Coming to the next part, that is national parks. What are national parks? These are areas which are reserved for wildlife where they can freely use the habitat and natural resource. Wildlife sanctuaries. What are these? These are the areas where animals are protected from any kind of disturbance to them or their habitat. So these are the ways by which we can conserve the forest as well as wildlife. So I hope you are clear with the content that how can forest and wildlife be useful. So please note down this particular definitions. Then we'll move further on what is the biosphere reserve, what is the national park, and what are the wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, be quick. You can write any definition, the one given in the book, textbook, or one given in the NCERT book. We can follow both because ultimately meaning of both is totally the same. Now let's move further. In the concept of biosphere reserve, what are biosphere reserves? These are the areas of protected land for the conservation of biodiversity and the traditional life of the tribals that are living over there. Okay, that is what a biosphere is. Coming to what is biodiversity. Biodiversity is the place. Biodiversity means all the plants, animals, and everything whichever is found in that particular area, that is called as biodiversity. Bio means living, diversity means bhinnata, the difference. So the variety is seen in all the things, whether it is no two plants, even no two apples are similar for kind information by some or the other means, either by weight or by the proportion of the vitamins that are present in them. By any or the other means, they too will vary. So that is what is the variety of the plants, the animals, the microorganisms, that all are called as biodiversity. The Panchmarhi Biosphere Reserve, it consists of a national park called Satpura and two wildlife sanctuaries, which is called as that is named as Bori and Panchmarhi. So this is one of the extra information which is given in the NCERT textbook, which we need to note down. So note down the last two lines only. Note down only the last two lines. Moving on the next part, which is flora and fauna. If I talk about flora, then you already know that the plants are called as flora and the animals are called as fauna. If we talk about the Panchmari district, then in that flora of Panchmari is the sal, teak, wild mango, jamun, silver ferns, which you can see over here. And the fauna is containing wild dog, cheetal, wolf, leopard, blue bull, and the barking deer. So these are just the names, and since your lower standards, you are knowing what is flora and fauna. So no need to note it down. I hope you are clear with the content. And this is the quick revision. I hope you remember. Next is the endemic species. What is the meaning of the word endemic species? So those species which are available in only in particular area, and except that area they are not found anywhere else. So those are called as endemic species. Those species of plants or animals that are found only in a particular area and are not found anywhere else, these are called as endemic species, and the example of it is sal and wild mango are the endemic flora of Panchmarhi. Bison, Indian giant squirrel, and flying squirrel, they are also endemic fauna of this area. Okay, so this is about the endemic species. I hope you are clear with the knowledge of this. So please note it down. Let's move further on. What are wildlife sanctuaries? So, what are wildlife sanctuaries? You already have noted and you already understood that animals, uh, their habitat and everything is getting disturbed. So, we need to protect them by some or the other means, and so uh, we need to stop the killing or capturing of animals because of any of the personal needs or any of the, like, some people are having like they want to do that, so that illegally poaching and killing should be stopped. So what are wildlife sanctuaries? These are the areas where animals are protected from any kind of disturbance to them or their habitat. The killing or capturing of animals is strictly prohibited. We should remember this. Next comes the national parks. This is the area that is where again the wildlife can freely move and the natural resources are also kept. So the first reserve of national park is the Satpura National Park is the first reserve forest in India. And if we talk about what is the national park, then they are the areas which are reserved for wildlife, where they can freely use the habitat and the natural resources. They can move around and use all the things. Then very important information about the Project Tiger is given over here, which we need to uh, like understand. Not only Project Tiger, but there is Project Crocodile, and for almost many Project Elephant. For many wildlife, this kind of projects are being carried out, and what is happening? They are taking care on protecting that particular animal. If we talk about Project Tiger, then it was launched on 1st of April 1973 by the government of India, and they saw the decline in the number of tigers, and that's why they took this particular Project Tiger into they brought it into action. The project aims at ensuring a viable population of Bengal tiger in their natural habitats and also to protect them from getting extinct and preserving the areas of biological importance as the natural heritage forever represented as close as possible the diversity of ecosystem across the tiger distribution in the country. The project task force visualized these tigers reserved as breeding nuclei from which surplus animals would migrate to the adjacent forest. So those who were extra, they were sent. Project Tiger is a wildlife conservation movement that was initiated in India in 1973 to protect tiger, and it has been successful uh, in doing it. The project aims at the tiger conservation, especially the tiger reserves, which are the representative of the biogeographical regions falling within India. And ultimately, the number of tigers are now more as compared to what they were aimed beforehand. So this is one of the important topic, Project Tiger. Again, you are going to study about it in the in your further studies. So please note down this, then we'll move further. Be quick. Be quick. let's move further on the red data book. If we talk about the red data book, then it is containing some of the important information regarding those species which are like on the verge of extinction, that is they are the endangered species, and about them everything is noted down in this particular book, which is red data book. The first one is the plants and the fungi, then animals, and the third one is the natural habitats. So this is the red data book that is given. So this book provides the central information of source in organizing the studies and monitoring programs on rare and endangered species and their habitats. It is regularly consulted when developing and implementing special measures are taken for any of the species. So this is the book which and how it looks like is given over here. Then comes the endangered species. What is the meaning of endangered species? Those species which are very less in number and they may get diminished or they might face extinction, then that are coming under the category of endangered species. Some of you already know about the dinosaurs that have got extinct totally from the environment, and right now we are only having the pictures of it. No further knowledge we are having about it. So what is done for their preservation, as we have already discussed, for the preservation of tiger, we have done the tiger project. In the same way, for the preservation of various different animals, the various different projects are getting carried out, and this is the way by which yeah, the national park, the wildlife sanctuary, the biosphere reserves, by hook or by crook, we are trying to see that the number of this particular animals go on increasing. So here let us see what is given over here about the endangered animals. So those animals which are diminishing and might face extinction, they are coming into the category of endangered animals. If we talk about the example, then tiger is one of the many animals which is slowly diminishing, and to protect the tigers in our country, the government of India has launched Project Tiger, so that the tiger's population remains stable. We already know that dinosaurs have got extinct, and we already know that red data book, the book that we talked about, it is keeping the record of all such plants and animals that are coming in this category, that is endangered. I also said to you that this for them also, for the elephants also, the project is launched. Ecosystem. What is ecosystem? The ecosystem is the place where all the living organisms are interacting with the non-living things, and together they make an ecosystem. So what is an ecosystem? It consists of all the plants, animals and microorganisms that are living in the area, along with the non-living components like climate, water, soil and river deltas. If we talk about ecosystem, then it is of two types. It can be land or water based, aquatic. Okay, so in these two parts, ecosystem is divided, and its components are two: biotic and abiotic. In biotic, all the living things are coming; in abiotic, all the non-living things are coming, like this climate, water, soil. So these are the components, and together the living components are using the non-living components, and they are forming the whole of the ecosystem. Any one particular extinct of animal or any particular plant, it can damage the whole of the ecosystem. So terrestrial, that means on land, and aquatic, that means on in water. In these two ways the ecosystem is existing. Okay. Next is migration. You already know that migration is happening, means that is from one particular place to another particular place. If people are going, then it is called as migration of people. If animals are going, then migration of animals. Birds are going, then migration of birds. So every year, because of many reasons, the birds are mostly migrating from one particular place to another, just in the search of food or in the search of proper habitat. What is migration? It is the movement of animals from its own habitat to some other particular habitat for a particular period of time due to climatic changes or for breeding. So birds which fly for a long distance to reach another land, they are called as migratory birds. So next part, which is the recycling of paper. If we talk about paper, then you already know, if you just look around your home, then you can see your particular books. They are made up of paper. And how is the paper coming from? Paper is coming from trees. So about 17 full grown trees are needed to make 1 ton of paper. Just think, for making 1 ton, just 1 ton of paper, we are needing 17 totally properly grown trees. I want to tell you one thing. These days the research is going on in which they are trying to do one thing, that is uh, this is the research which is going on. You can check it out on internet about its research. That is, they are taking the paper which is printed, and that they are injecting into that, they are thinking about this, that we will put the paper into that machine, and like, you know, on a blank paper everything gets printed. In the same way, they are trying to extract the ink from the paper and make the paper totally blank again. Why? So that it can be reused and reprinted. So this is, and even the ink can be used again. So this is going to bring a great revolution in saving the trees, because we don't need to cut more and more number of trees for making the papers. Yes, what I said is totally true. The technology is going on, growing day by day. So about this, it is, paper can be recycled about 5 to 7 times for use, and we should save and reuse recycled paper, and but all, we should also save the energies and the chemicals that are used to make the paper. Then coming to the next part, which is reforestation. What is reforestation? Clearance of the forest is called as deforestation. Reforestation means again bringing the forest back. How can that be done? By planting more and more number of trees. Yes, we are cutting lots of trees, and so we need to make that ecosystem balanced by growing more number of trees. So what is reforestation? It is restocking of the destroyed plants, or by planting new trees. We should plant at least as many trees as we cut. We have already caused a lot of damage to our forest, and we need to regain our green wealth. So we are having just one option, that is reforestation. So I hope you have understood all the content that has been done today, and I hope you are revising properly all the content that has been taught to you. So that's all for today. Thank you so much, my dear students, for listening to me, and have a very good day. That's all. Bye bye.